Please stand for the national anthem.
Jessica. Yes. Jessica.
Please stand, face the flag, put your right hand over your heart, and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
And as we begin, let's thank Dennis, our bagpiper this morning, and his teacher George, who've been bagpiping for Viewpoint literally for decades. And of course, a special thanks to our upper school concert choir. Good morning. Did you hear that? Did you hear it? I heard a click. That special click as things settle into place. The head of school has a superpower, a very special hearing, and I just heard that click as everything gets right into place for your best school year ever. Convocation is our annual celebration of the start of the school year, and take a look around to see why we love it. It isn't just the bagpipes and the pageantry and the great words that we are going to hear from students. It's you. It's you, each individual Viewpoint student, each dedicated and talented teacher, each loyal contributing member of our staff, all gathered here together for one purpose. Convocation reminds us that it's you. It's the people who make Viewpoint Viewpoint. And each of us is here to be part of a community that is so much bigger than ourselves, for a purpose that is much bigger than ourselves. I'm very honored to give a special welcome to our seniors, our class of 2024, to kick off your final year. On Tuesday, they were rocking the green. Today, you were led in by bagpipes that will lead you into graduation in June. And between now and graduation, you will lead our student body with intelligence, courage, and skill. We look forward to seeing the leaders that you are and that you are becoming. And we give a special welcome to our kindergarten, our Viewpoint class of 2036. Kindergarten, you were led into Convocation by our seniors. You are learning to treat one another with kindness and caring and learning how to learn. We are so happy you are here. It is so great to see you, delighted to join our community. We are excited for your journey ahead. And I want to give a special welcome to the lifers in our class of 2024. Would you please stand, who began here in kindergarten? Acknowledging you, while all of us began school in kindergarten, acknowledging you brings that circle of Viewpoint family home because you started in these classrooms and in fact, many of you with these teachers. Finally, we welcome 230 brand new students to Viewpoint. Our new students. This may be the last day we call you our new students. Our new students, you are here from around Los Angeles, from around the country, from around the world, to fulfill our vision of an education that changes lives. Our newest Viewpoint Patriots are talented, having earned admission from the highest number of applications Viewpoint has ever received. Your families come from 70 countries around the world, and 1 in 5 of you speaks a language other than English. You bring talent, passion, vision, and heart, meaning you're right at home in our Viewpoint nation. Welcome. This year, we again invite you into a year lifting up one of our school's core values. In all our diversity of backgrounds and opinions and cultures, and yes, even our diversity of viewpoints, Viewpoint is unified by our values of love, honor, excellence, imagination, and optimism. In a moment, our Associate Head of School, Mr. Bob Bryan, is going to share with you why this year we focus on imagination. I was born and raised in California, and I've always thought that our Golden State, and Los Angeles in particular, is the world capital of imagination. And perhaps because I've lived my life in schools, I believe young people have easier access to imagination, for seeing in your mind's eye the unlimited possibilities of new worlds, new ways of thinking and being, new solutions to life's problems, new solutions to the world's problems. Imagination is not just the province of the artists, the writers, painters, filmmakers, composers, actors, and dancers among us, though we can learn from their tools and their vision. There's no better time than the start of a new school year to let go of your past assumptions about limits, about I can't, to imagine your future and to know that your future begins today. As I was in Israel this summer, returning to one of our world's oldest crossroads of civilization, to see sites sacred to Christians, Muslims, and Jews that have been visited for thousands of years, I was reminded of the vital power of imagination. Imagination was needed to grow food and bring life out of the desert, to create a new nation just 75 years old, to find ways that people can connect and live together across their differences. Despite its conflicts, that small country is also one of the happiest countries on earth. I learned from this that optimism requires imagination, that unity in diversity requires imagination, that a world where education changes lives requires imagination. So if I leave you with one use for your imagination this year that I bring urgently from my experiences in Israel this summer, it is this. Use your imagination to learn how to disagree well. Whether it's about the best all-time player in baseball's major league, you might disagree about that. Whether it's about the best policy to end homelessness, learn to disagree. Learn to find unity in diversity. Our nation's founders disagreed passionately about the best way to set up our democracy, and the result was a phenomenal, enduring system that is a beacon of liberty. Disagree with kindness. Disagree with optimism. Disagree with love. And you will come together in our community, our public square, to make our world and our school a better place. That's one use for imagination. What is yours? What growth, what learning, what new connections, what new you will the new year bring? And here to inspire us with her vision is a welcome and a leadership from our industrious, inimitable, and imaginative Executive Council President, Jessica Chow.
Thank you, Mr. McKee. Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Chow, and I'm honored to represent the upper school as the student body president this year. It was an incredibly special moment for me in the class of 2024 to kick off Convocation by officially welcoming the kindergarten class of 2036 in our iconic tunnel. I'm still coming to terms with the fact that my class is technically the highest level on the food chain of Viewpoint grades. We can't complain about the grades above us because we are the apex predators. Others like the word role model better, but regardless, I'm glad to welcome all new and returning students back to school. In the spirit of this year's theme, I challenge every student, faculty, and staff member at Viewpoint to embrace imagination in the classroom, on the playground, in the theaters, on the field, and in your mind. There are endless opportunities to explore your passions and meet new people. I was new to Viewpoint in 9th grade, and I wish I could have run through a human tunnel 13 years ago, but no matter when you join Viewpoint, there are always ways to connect with people who will support your passions and your goals. I, for one, never had one specific passion. My years in school have always been chaotic exploration of every field and every class. But that's what bringing imagination to life is. Whether or not you know what your passions are, it's all about taking the first steps. And we can start today. So, here's to an amazing school year. Thank you.
Thank you, President Jessica Chow. And now it's an honor to introduce our upper school concert choir with a song very special to our theme this year.
Come with me. thanks to our amazing concert choir for so beautifully reminding us of the joy that pure imagination brings. Thank you. I love the idea that imagination is our theme for this school year because there are so many ways that imagination is important in learning and in life. At school each day, there are countless examples of creativity and creative thinking. Imagination is the foundation of creativity. Creativity is imagination that has found a purpose. Imagination and inspiration are two important parts of the act of creation. Imagination creates a vision, and inspiration brings that vision to life. Imagination follows from curiosity, which is the spark that ignites deep learning. In order to understand the experience of another person, one must imagine themselves in that other person's experience. So empathy and imagination are closely linked. In order to understand, I just said that, so skip that part. We use our imagination when questions arise about how things can be better. Our optimism comes from the feeling that imagination generates. Because imagination touches so many parts of our lives, we may sometimes forget how vitally important it is and how much we rely on it in school and in our daily activities. So I'm glad that it is one of Viewpoint's 5 core values, and also glad that we can shine a light on imagination this year. At this time, students from each of our 4 divisions will share their thoughts about the importance of imagination and what imagination means to them. We'll begin by inviting primary school students Kaya Doherty and Tremaine Walker.
This year, our Viewpoint theme is imagination. Every Viewpoint student uses their imagination as they go through the years of school. If you don't know how to do something, imagine it and give it a try. You can start off with drawing a straight line and turning it into whatever you want. I like to add watercolors to bring my drawings to life. You can also use your imagination to reach for the stars. You might grow up to be the President of the United States of America one day. I imagine playing soccer, scoring goals, and winning the World Cup.
I use my imagination when I build or draw something. I start by imagining it. It can even be a giraffe standing on its head with a hippo on its legs. You can use your imagination to help other people. If you see someone who is sad, ask them to build something with you. Then we can use our imagination together. I love football, and I imagine myself on the football Viewpoint team with everybody rooting for me.
Thank you, Kaya and Tremaine. Now please welcome lower school students Aaliyah Charway and Wyatt Rubenstein.
When I think of what imagination means, the first word that comes to my mind is freedom. When I get the chance to use my imagination, I can think of absolutely anything. No one telling me what or how to think, or what I'm imagining is right or wrong. For example, 7 times 3 is always 21, so there's no imagination involved. But there's no right or wrong answer to imagination. My favorite time to use my imagination is when I'm reading. I love to picture how every character looks in a setting. Imagination has helped me to be more creative and hopeful. Without imagination, we wouldn't be where we are today. Our imaginations have no limits, and with imagination, anything is possible.
imagination is the magic in our lives. Imagination is the gift of dreams that fire our spirit. Knowledge is important to educate our minds with facts, rules, and ideas. Imagination urges us to go beyond those facts and rules to dream of a better world and proceed to create it. It has been 60 years since Dr. Martin Luther King's famous I Have a Dream speech. He dared to imagine in August 1963 a world where his children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Countless people are influenced by the power of his imagination to pursue justice for all. Imagination energizes dreamers to break boundaries. The great explorers such as Ferdinand Magellan and Columbus discovered new lands urged by their imagination. Today, scientists imagine and explore faraway galaxies. Writers, poets, artists, all enrich our lives with their gifts of the imagination. Imagination helps us be more understanding and forgiving by allowing our mind to live elsewhere, to imagine the experience of someone else. It encourages empathy and compassion. It puts things in perspective and lets us laugh at ourselves. With imagination, we are never bored, never alone. With imagination, our dream to be what we hope to be is without limits or boundaries.
Thank you, Aaliyah and Wyatt. And now please welcome middle school students Evie Wilkins and William Bradway.
Hello, Viewpoint. I am glad to see everyone here, from the new kindergarten students to the seniors. I'm here to talk to you about a wonderful thing called imagination. You see, I believe imagination is the very root of positive thinking. It enables us to be conscious of the future and to set goals for ourselves. It allows students of all age ranges to come up with creative ideas for projects and written work. It allows STEM students to come up with new solutions. It allows local leaders and politicians to change the world for the better. It allows us to think for ourselves, to create hypotheses and create new ideas. Imagination influences every decision we make. Whether we are conscious of it or not, it is an intrinsic part of who we are, as Viewpoint students and as members of the community. Additionally, without imagination, there is no innovation. Things like phones, the laptop that I wrote this speech on, and the dry erase boards we use in math would not exist. Imagination is often said to be the highest form of thinking, and I agree with that. It allows the entire world to tap into its true potential, and it helps us to progress every day as a society. Whether you are a third grader, an eighth grader, like us, or a junior, I encourage you. Use your imagination in everything you do, and try as hard as you can, because you might surprise yourself with the results. Thank you.
Imagination plays a huge role throughout our lives, whether it be at school, at home, on the sports field, etc. But I'm here to speak about the role of imagination in the wider communities. When I say the word imagination, you may be thinking of fairy tales, art classes, or even daydreaming, but I'm here to explore deeper into the importance of imagination outside our school walls. If you think about it, every life-changing idea or invention started with just a tiny spark of imagination in one's mind. Steve Jobs once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." You may incorporate imagination to business or technical jobs, but we also have to remember our world leaders and activists that envision our world to someday be equal, sustainable, and in harmony. It's their thinking that has led us to the world we live in today. In times of crisis, it is imagination that guides us through the worst of it. It allows communities, families, and societies to come together as one and solve their problems. Lastly, my dad once said to me, "It's the imagination of the artists, musicians, and storytellers that reflects our societies, exposes our worries, and helps us imagine a better tomorrow." Imagination isn't just a childhood fantasy. It is what moves us forward as one, uniting us and inspiring us to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Matthew, Evie, and William. And finally, please welcome upper school students Nia Blumenfield and Albert Altman.
Good morning, Viewpoint School. I'm Cece Liu, a senior here at Viewpoint. I am a storyteller. When I was a middle schooler, I was obsessed with digital art time lapses on YouTube. I was fascinated by them because the mouse cursor moved so freely in those videos without any struggle to get a clean line, and I wanted to find out how those artists were able to achieve this. I imagined people skillfully gliding their mouse across a table, or a mouse pad. No, definitely a mouse pad. Maybe they drew on their phones with their fingers, but don't their fingers get red? I longed to find out. It took me an entire day to figure out that they were using a graphics tablet, or a screen tablet that allowed a digital pen to become the mouse that moves the cursor whenever it gets close to the surface of the tablet. Imagination makes things happen. It is the basis of a story, and many stories to come. Imagine and pursue. When I was a sophomore here at Viewpoint, I was obsessed with comics and graphic novels. Through reading numerous stories in such formats, I imagined myself creating one of my own. I imagined the stories I would tell, the images that I would draw, and the ways I can share it with the world, but that is just not enough. I picked up my pencil and sketched, brainstormed, wrote, and brought them to my tablet and glided my digital pen on the surface of it. I completed the first chapter and repeated the process. All of you are storytellers. You all imagine how the year will be, what hardships it will have, and how you will overcome them. Now go. Let your imagination take over your body and live out your story. Imagination is the first step to accomplishing anything. Imagine, pursue, complete, and repeat. Thank you.
Imagination is the ability to see things that aren't there, to see beyond the constraints of reality. When I was younger, my brother and I played a lot with Hot Wheel cars. We made these small tracks in the living room to race, and when we were playing, imagination turned those small tracks into Formula One raceways. But even more than that, imagination is what let me and my brother envision a track that went over the couch, under the chair, and out the door into the hallway. Now, in high school, I do robotics. And I love it for many of the same reasons I loved playing with Hot Wheels as a kid. Seeing an idea, a robot design translated from in my head to reality is why I love robotics. I love the act of creating something new, whether it's a Hot Wheel track, a theater production, or a robot. In our world as a whole, imagination is the driving force of innovation. From the International Space Station to Netflix, every great idea comes from a spark of imagination, a single idea. In our future, it's going to be these new imaginative ideas that change the world. Some of us see our future in third grade, some of us see it in college, but all of us really have no clue what the future holds. When we imagine ourselves in 5 years, maybe 10 years, we all have hopes and goals that we want to achieve. And just like building a robot or creating a work of art, it's up to us to turn that imagination into reality. To take our ideas, our aspirations, our goals, and not just imagine them in our head, but use them to create our future. Thank you.
Thank you. I apologize that I had the wrong speaker list. That was Albert Altman and Cece Liu. My apologies. Let's one round of applause for all of our student speakers. They were awesome.
Wasn't that terrific? Students, thank you for bringing your imagination to our convocation. And now we turn our imagination to our hardworking, generous, and inspired Viewpoint teachers and staff. Each year, Viewpoint awards endowed prizes, recognizing excellence and contribution above and beyond in our talented people. Nominations for these awards come from their colleagues, and there is nothing so fine as the acknowledgement and appreciation of respected peers. This year, we're presenting 3 awards. I will share the brief description of each award. I'll call up the recipient to receive a bouquet, and at the end, we'll invite all the recipients on the stage for a picture. First, the Viewpoint Excellence in Teaching Awards are presented to recognize and promote inspiration, creativity, and excellence in teaching and contribution to Viewpoint, honoring those whose work embodies our mission and values and has a distinctive impact on students in the community. Awards are given in 2 categories: to a teacher in their first 10 years of service to Viewpoint, and a teacher with 10 or more years of service. With under 10 years of service, our first recipient is described by a colleague as, quote, bringing her warmth, vitality, and lively sense of humor to her teaching across the divisions in the middle and upper schools. She models a commitment to teaching the whole student and Viewpoint School's core value of love with her kindness and patience. Her willingness to guide students in confronting our difficult histories with care, for embracing our future world with optimism and community, demonstrate her excellence in teaching. Her students gain from her thoughtful approach to social studies, and they later thrive with her dedication to their social and emotional development in their Skills and Mentors programs. Our first recipient is Cynthia Ambrose. As we move to those with more than 10 years of service, I'll tell you, one of the best things we do is get to read these incredible nominations from their colleagues. It's an incredibly moving experience, and we had so many nominations. We had so many nominations, and in this category, we actually have 2 honorees. Our first honoree is described as having, quote, an impact on the school community that is unparalleled. One colleague commented, quote, step into her inviting classroom and you will leave enriched by her skilled teaching, the welcoming environment that she has created to make everyone feel seen, and her engaging lessons. While yet another colleague appreciated that, quote, she is a valuable asset to Viewpoint with her can-do attitude, creative aptitude, and incredible work ethic. All of her nominators appreciate that, quote, she helps every student and teacher in primary and lower schools and brings a constant dose of energy to her work. An alumna herself and a parent of a student and an alum, she's extended her work to connect our community around the world. Our first Excellence in Teacher honoree is technology teacher Allison Cornell. But wait, there's more. Our second recipient this year is described by a colleague as, quote, the embodiment of everything we stand for at Viewpoint. Her dedication and passion for teaching are evident in every lesson, interaction, and experience that she creates for her students. She inspires me to be a better educator. Another colleague says that she is, quote, a true gem. I have seen her expert care of the children as she cares so deeply for each child and works tirelessly to help them grow into their role as a human on this earth. She names her class the Dream Team, when really, in fact, she leads those children to their dreams. Described as joy on 2 feet, our second recipient of our Excellence in Teaching Prize is Jasmine Novick. And our final award, the Spirit of Viewpoint Award, is awarded to a non-teaching employee whose work embodies the spirit of the school and has a distinctive impact on the community. This nomination for this year's recipient reads that he, quote, lives and breathes Viewpoint School. He is often here before the school day starts and stays late into the evening. It's not uncommon to see him here on weekends. He is a selfless leader of his team and is an extremely thoughtful decision maker, quick to volunteer to help anyone with any level of problem. A lifelong learner and relentless problem solver, he loves this place deeply and wants it to be the best of the best. He's responsible for the transformation of the IT department and kept us all humming during COVID. This year's Spirit of Viewpoint Award goes to Matt Tucker. And now, with gratitude to all of my colleagues who made these incredible nominations and so many more, I'd like to invite our 4 honorees onto the stage for a picture. You'll work out.
Okay. Sorry.
So, before we close our convocation, we've been inspired by our students, we've celebrated our teachers, we've heard the beautiful music of the choir, and we've connected our community as never before to celebrate a year ahead of pure imagination. I now want to wish you and commend to you your best school year ever, and imagine how it will be for you. And with that, I'd invite the Upper School Concert Choir to close us with the alma mater. Thank you all, and have a great school year.
Where the sun is bright.
I invite our upper school and middle school students to please remain seated while our primary and lower school students exit. Happy Labor Day weekend. Have a terrific day. Thank you.